After a terrible accident while in the hospital on the verge of life and death, I woke up and heard my wife telling the doctor, to be honest, I was hoping he wouldn't make it. Insurance money would have solved all my difficulties and spared me from him. The doctor was stunned. I closed my eyes again and pretended to be unconscious. She didn't know I'd heard every word. What I did next shocked her. I'm not really sure where to start. I'm sitting in a hospital bed right now, typing this one-handed with my left thumb while my right arm's strapped up like a prop from a low-budget action movie. The nurse told me to rest, but honestly, if I stare at the ceiling for another hour, I'll lose my mind. So I figured I'd write it out. Not looking for sympathy, just need to get this out of my system before I start saying this stuff out loud to people who'll think I've snapped. If anyone has advice or thoughts, feel free to drop them. Because lately, the things I'm thinking? They scare even me. My name's Tyler. I'm 32. My wife, well, I guess still my wife, is named Erica. We've been married just under 3 years. We met in the dumbest way possible, through this local Saturday running group that a mutual friend signed us both up for. Not some romantic comedy spark or cute story. The friend bailed last minute and I ended up having to walk Erica through her first 5K since she had literally no idea what she was doing. We clicked because neither of us were runners. We were both pretending, really. I think we bonded over hating the same terrible Spotify playlist and both faking a shoe tie to get out of the last lap. After that, things just sort of happened. We'd grab pizza after training, send each other memes, laugh at how ridiculous it all was. It was light. Easy. The kind of early relationship where you're not even sure it's real but it feels good enough to ride the wave. And then we got married. Not in a rush or anything. Just because it felt like the next step. I didn't think about it too hard. That might have been the first mistake. The change wasn't sudden. It never is, right? It was subtle. Little things. Erica started nitpicking about where I left my shoes. Then she'd roll her eyes when I forgot to buy the almond milk again. I figured it was normal married stuff. Then she lost her job. Not her fault, just part of a giant round of layoffs at her firm. But it changed her. Like, deeply? She shut down emotionally. Started spending hours doom scrolling on her phone, making these sarcastic, bitter comments about her old coworkers, about life, about everything. I kept trying to pull her out, inviting her out with my brother Jamie, or to trivia nights, or even just walks, but she always had an excuse. Too tired. Not in the mood. Everyone's fake. That sort of thing. She was there technically in the apartment with me. But it felt like she'd left a long time ago. A few months ago, the money talk started. Not in a normal budgeting way, but in a weird, twitchy kind of way. She'd ask if I paid the water bill even though she could see the receipt. She made snide comments about how I wasted money on things like new headphones or a new set of bike tires. Little digs every day. Then came the jokes, how she wished we'd win the lottery, or how if she were single, she'd just move to Portugal and disappear. At first, I thought it was stress talking. But then she started to get mean. Like, really mean? Saying stuff like, some people just accept a boring life and rot in it while scrolling TikTok, not even looking at me. I'd snap sometimes. Sometimes I'd just walk out to the garage and tinker with my bike until I cooled off. It became a pattern, small resentments turning into this quiet war neither of us wanted to admit we were fighting. Then last week, I got hit by a car. Well, technically, I got sideswiped by a teenager who ran a stop sign and made me swerve straight into a parked van. It wasn't high speed or anything, but I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Airbags saved me, but it knocked me out cold. When I came to in the ER, I was dazed, stitched, bruised, and missing full use of my right arm. They told me I was lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt broken. Scared. Alone. Erica came to see me that night. She looked like she hadn't even brushed her hair, sweatpants, hoodie, mascara under her eyes. I thought maybe she was just emotional. But when she looked at me, she didn't smile. She didn't even ask if I was okay. She just kind of stared. Can you move your fingers? She asked flatly. I lifted my hand a little. She nodded. Then she left 5 minutes later, said she'd be back in the morning. She didn't kiss me. Didn't touch my hand. Just vanished. The next morning is when it happened. I dozed off for a while and woke up to voices on the other side of the curtain around my bed. Her voice and the doctor's. I couldn't make out every word, but I heard this. It's just been so much, she said. I don't even know what I'd do if something happened to him. There was a pause. And then she said something I'll never forget. I was kind of praying he wouldn't make it. I know that sounds horrible, but the life insurance would have fixed everything. I wouldn't have to feel stuck anymore. I thought I misheard her. I lay there frozen, staring at the ceiling. My ears were ringing. My mouth went dry. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry. She just said it like she was talking about the weather. The doctor didn't say anything right away. I don't blame him. What do you even say to that? Erica laughed it off a second later like she was joking. She said, I'm just venting. He'd probably be better off without me anyway. But it didn't sound like a joke. It sounded real. After that, the doctor left. Erica came into the room and sat down by the window, scrolling on her phone. I kept my eyes closed and tried to breathe evenly. She didn't say a word to me. Just sat there for a few minutes, then left again. I don't even know how long I lay there after that. Could have been 10 minutes, could have been 2 hours. All I kept thinking was, did I really hear that? I tried to convince myself it was a dream. A hallucination. But it wasn't. I remember her tone exactly. I remember the way she exhaled before she said it. I remember the silence in the room after. Later that day, Jamie came by. He brought me a hoodie, my phone charger, and some snacks. I told him I was just tired. He said Erica had told him not to come, that I needed rest. Which was weird because she never talks to him. I asked if our parents knew. He said Erica told them the hospital had strict visiting rules and they should wait. Except, when I asked the nurse, she said that wasn't true at all. That night, Erica came back for 10 minutes. Still barely said anything. She complained about the parking cost and how tired she was. I told her I'd find my own ride home when I was discharged. She just nodded and left. After she was gone, I started thinking. Really thinking. About how she watches me sometimes when she thinks I'm not looking. How she double-checks the mail. How she checks the bank account obsessively. How she flinches if I ask, how was your day? I remembered a fight we had about a month ago. Over something stupid, what to watch on Netflix. She got so angry she shoved me. I shoved her back. She screamed that I was ruining her life and locked herself in the bathroom for an hour. We never talked about it again. But I remember the look in her eyes that night. She's been trying to find the exit ever since. But that moment in the hospital? That wasn't trying. That was her wishing. And now she doesn't know I heard it. Everyone around us thinks she's just tired. Grieving. Stressed. Per Erica, her husband almost died. But no. She's done. She's gone. She's just waiting to cash out. And I'm not going to make that easy for her. I might be lying in a hospital bed with one functioning arm. I might look helpless. But I'm not stupid. And I'm not going to be some quiet victim while she figures out how to walk away with everything. If she wants to be free that badly, she better be ready for what that freedom actually looks like. Because when I get out of here, I'm not saying a word. I'm just going to act. And she'll never see it coming. So I'm home now. Still typing with one hand, still sore as hell, but at least I'm not choking down hospital oatmeal anymore. I thought maybe, just maybe, things would settle once I got back. Like, I half expected Erica to shift back into supportive wife mode, even if it was just for show. But no. If anything, the weirdness doubled down. The moment I stepped into the apartment, I knew something was off. The air felt heavy, like we were both trying not to breathe too loud. She was there, waiting, but it wasn't like a welcome home moment. No hug. No smile. Just a stiff hey followed by a comment about how the nurse had tracked in mud and she had to clean the bathroom. The nurse didn't even wear shoes inside. She asked me if I could work remotely for a while and whether the insurance was covering everything. No, how are you feeling, or do you need anything? Just logistics and bills. She never looked me in the eye. Her phone buzzed and she kept glancing at it while I talked. I said I'd figure things out and she just said, cool, and asked if I wanted anything from the store. I said no. She left anyway, slamming the door behind her. It didn't feel like I was home. It felt like I was intruding. That night, I couldn't sleep. My shoulder throbbed, and every time I closed my eyes, I kept replaying what she'd said in the hospital. Over and over. It was like an audio loop in my brain. I told myself maybe it was just stress. Maybe she didn't mean it. But the more I thought about it, the more cracks started to show. The next morning, I noticed her phone never left her side. Used to be she'd leave it on the counter, on the bed, on the charger. Now it was always in her hand or her pocket. Even when she went to the bathroom. Once I saw her slide it under her pillow when I walked in. At first, I tried to ignore it. I didn't want to be that guy paranoid, snooping. But my gut was screaming that something wasn't right. So I started paying attention. Little things added up. She'd go out grocery shopping 4 hours and come back with 2 bags of frozen pizza and oat milk. There were weird charges on our bank account, $48 at some candle shop, $112 at a website I didn't recognize. I checked the fridge, checked the mail. Nothing lined up. I didn't say anything right away. I just watched. A couple days later, a $200 withdrawal showed up. I texted her and asked if she needed cash for something. She replied, "It's for groceries, chill." Except, again, the fridge was practically empty. Jamie came by one afternoon with some food and asked me straight up, "Is everything okay with Erica?" I shrugged. It's been a weird few weeks. He said she called him the night before asking about my will. Not in a joking way, like seriously asking if I had one. I laughed at first. He didn't. "She sounded off, man," he said. Like she was trying to figure something out. I didn't know what to say. So I changed the subject. But that comment? It stuck in my chest like a stone. One morning, she left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. I didn't touch it. Didn't open anything? But I saw a message flash on the lock screen from someone named Mads. Got it. Almost there. I don't know a Mads. She never mentioned one. And that message felt planned. Like part of something. When she came back, she grabbed the phone like it was evidence. Didn't even dry her hands first. That's when I started keeping a private note on my phone. Just dates, times, things I saw, things I heard. Not because I wanted to trap her, but because I needed to know I wasn't going crazy. She started disappearing more. Saying she was at the gym or with her friend Lauren. But her gym bag never moved. Her workout shoes stayed dusty. And Lauren? I texted her just to check in. She said she hadn't seen Erica in over a month. Then she added, "Hope she's not dragging you into her mess again." Again. That one word hit hard. I didn't press. I didn't want to start unraveling things I couldn't put back together. I brought up the bank account one night. Just casually said, "Hey, there've been some weird charges. Have you noticed anything?" She went full defensive in 5 seconds flat. Accused me of spying on her, said I was making her feel like a criminal. I said I just wanted to know where our money was going. "If you trusted me, you wouldn't be checking," she yelled. "If you weren't hiding something, I wouldn't have to," I said back. She shoved me. Hard. Reflex kicked in and I pushed her back. She slapped my arm and started crying, saying I was scaring her. Then she stormed out. That night, the neighbor texted asking if everything was okay. I said, "Just a bad night." Which wasn't a lie. It was just the tip of a much worse iceberg. 2 days later, I found a stack of mail on the kitchen counter. Among the bills and ads was a letter from a credit card company addressed to her. One I didn't know she had. I didn't open it. I just took a picture for my notes. When I asked her about it, she said it was an old card, and she forgot about it. I asked why it was still active. She rolled her eyes and walked away. Something was building. I could feel it, like a storm circling, just waiting for a break in the pressure. I started moving my clothes out of our shared closet. She noticed and asked why. "With one arm, it's just easier this way," I said. "Less reaching." She didn't argue, but she didn't like it. Her parents called a few days later, asking if I needed help with bills. I said no, but they sounded unsure, like they were trying to get info without directly asking. That night, I heard her whispering to her mom on the phone, saying I was getting paranoid and acting difficult. I wasn't being difficult. I was waking up. And then came the moment that really snapped me out of any illusion I had left. I caught her taking pictures of my insurance paperwork. She didn't see me at first. I walked in from the hallway and she had the pages spread out on the table, phone in hand. "What are you doing?" I asked. She jumped and said she needed it to file something for the hospital. I told her I could do that myself. She glared at me. "You never let me help." I didn't say anything. I just gathered the papers and put them in my backpack. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling again. Only this time I wasn't confused. I wasn't trying to justify anything. I knew what was happening. She wasn't just pulling away. She was setting up an escape route and trying to take as much with her as she could. But I'm not going to be the guy she walks over on the way out. I'm watching now. I'm planning. And next time she tries to box me in, she's going to realize I'm not the same man she thought she could outplay. There comes a point where the weight of pretending becomes heavier than the fallout of truth. That point hit me about a week after Erica tried to snap a photo of my insurance papers. I didn't blow up, didn't accuse her, didn't even raise my voice. But something in me flipped, like a switch in my chest that said, enough. I stopped reacting. I stopped explaining. And I started taking back control. First move, money. I hadn't touched my old savings account in years, a dusty little corner of a local credit union that I'd opened back when I was 24 and had dreams of going freelance. Never really used it. But now, it was exactly what I needed. I logged in, updated all my info, and set up direct deposit from work. Took maybe 15 minutes, but the relief? Immediate. Just knowing that my paycheck wouldn't be siphoned off or borrowed without asking, it helped me breathe for the first time in weeks. Next, I pulled up our shared bank account. The balance was way lower than it should have been. Way lower. I cross-checked the transactions against receipts, and yeah, she'd been withdrawing small amounts every couple of days. $40 here. $75 there. Not enough to trigger alarms, but steady enough to drain us. I screenshotted everything. Made a folder on my phone, backed it up to Google Drive, and emailed copies to myself with a subject line that just said, "In case." Then I started calling the utility companies. Internet, gas, electric. Anywhere our names were both listed. I removed myself from everything I could. Anything where I was the primary, I changed the passwords and set up a new payment method. She wouldn't even know until the bills started bouncing. It wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about getting clear. About building a life raft in the middle of a storm I didn't even start. Then came the credit card. Only one of our cards had me listed as the primary user. The others were hers. But this one? I owned it. And I saw that she'd racked up almost $600 in new charges over the last 2 weeks, some wellness subscription box, a sketchy-looking online boutique, even a down payment for something labeled Freedom Coaching. I didn't even want to know. I called the company, said I suspected unauthorized use. They locked the card and said they'd issue me a new one. I had them change the address for the replacement to Jamie's apartment, just in case. By the time I hung up, I felt lighter. Not happy. Not proud. But prepared. And then I waited. A few days passed. Erica didn't notice. Or maybe she did and just didn't say anything. She still moved through the apartment like I was the unwanted guest crashing on her couch. I slept in the guest room now. Said it was easier on my shoulder. She rolled her eyes every time she walked by. Then, one morning, it happened. She went to the grocery store, tried to use the joint card, and it got declined. She called me right after, voice syrupy sweet. "Hey, babe, weird thing, our card didn't go through. You notice anything strange with the bank?" I said, "Oh, maybe a security thing. Banks are weird sometimes. Can you call them?" "Sure," I said. "I'll check it out later." She hung up without saying goodbye. Over the next few days, she got sloppy. Passive-aggressive notes started showing up around the house, on the fridge, the bathroom mirror, even taped to my coffee mug. Bills don't pay themselves. Some of us still care about keeping the lights on. Wish I could be the one who just rests all day. I ignored them. Instead, I started locking my backpack. Started moving personal files, documents, anything important into it. If I wasn't carrying it, it was in my car. I didn't trust the apartment anymore. Didn't trust her. She asked for money through Venmo. I said I'd buy whatever she needed. She said never mind. She blocked me in the hallway once, stood there, arms crossed, like she was trying to physically stop me from leaving. "I need to walk," I said. "Doctor's orders." "Then go around me," she said. I didn't. I waited. She shoved me. I shoved back. Not hard, but enough to get space. She backed off, tears already forming. "You're scaring me," she whispered. I didn't respond. Just walked out the door. The next day, I told Jamie everything. Not the full thing, not the life insurance confession. Not yet. But enough. The weird money. The secrecy. The tension. He didn't even look surprised. "She always gave me bad vibes, man," he said. "Glad you're finally seeing it." I also talked to Lauren. Yeah, that Lauren, the one Erica claimed to be hanging out with every Tuesday and Thursday. I hadn't spoken to her in months. When I messaged her just to check in, she replied almost instantly. "Is she dragging you into her crap again?" she wrote. "What do you mean?" I asked. She called me. Told me straight she hadn't seen Erica in almost 6 weeks. Had no idea what she was talking about with the whole weekly catch-ups. I didn't want to say anything, Lauren said, but she's been different. Distant. I don't know what she's into, but it's not good. That was the final confirmation I needed. I started building a file. Like a literal paper folder with labels and tabs. Screenshots. Bank statements. Photos of her late-night texts that popped up when she left her phone unlocked. Messages from someone named Mads and another person named Sophia. Things like, "Hang in there. Almost done. Just a few more steps and it's yours. Make sure the paperwork's clean." It didn't take a genius to guess what they were talking about. And still, she thought I was clueless. One night, she came home and tried to act sweet. Asked if I wanted takeout. I said I'd already eaten. She slammed the fridge shut and walked into the bedroom. I could hear her on the phone, whispering again. "He's making this so difficult," she said. I texted Jamie, "Keep your phone on. I might need backup." The next morning, she tried to use the joint account again, this time to pay the electricity bill. Declined. She stormed into the living room. "Something's wrong with the account," she said. "I'll handle it," I replied. She looked at me like she wanted to scream. But she didn't. Instead, she started calling her parents. I could hear her in the kitchen, whispering into the phone about me. About how I was getting controlling, withholding money, and acting unstable. Her mom texted me that night, "Are you treating my daughter okay?" I responded, "We're going through a rough patch. I'm doing my best." She never replied. 2 days later, her dad called. Said something about how a real man steps up when marriage gets hard. I let him rant for a minute, then hung up. That same day, Erica left her laptop open on the couch. I wasn't snooping, but I couldn't help it. Her email was still up. She had a draft open. Addressed to a lawyer. A divorce lawyer. She never sent it. But it was there. Sitting there like a loaded gun. The weirdest part? I wasn't angry. I was relieved. Finally, she was showing her hand. So I kept moving. Quietly. Carefully. I canceled all joint autopays. Made new accounts for Netflix, Spotify, utilities. All in my name. I took photos of every receipt. Moved a few valuables, my bike, some old photo albums, my passport into Jamie's garage. Just in case. I also started sleeping with the guest room door locked. She noticed. "Really?" she said one night. "You think I'm going to do something?" I didn't respond. Just turned off the light. That was the night I made my decision. I was done waiting for the next hit. Done tiptoeing around her moods. Done pretending we were just in a rough patch. She wanted to play the long game. Wanted to wear me down. Gaslight me into thinking I was the problem. She didn't expect me to fight back. So I made one last move. I invited her parents, her sister, and my family to dinner. Told them it was important. Told them Erica and I had something to share. Jamie looked at me and said, "You sure you're ready?" I said, "She's been writing the script for months. I'm just giving it a stage." Because if she wanted out, she was about to get exactly what she asked for. I woke up that Friday morning knowing exactly what I was going to do. The air in the apartment was sharp, quiet. Erica had already left, though she didn't say where. She just left a note by the coffee maker written in a passive-aggressive scribble. Some people should remember to pay the internet bill. The bill was paid. She just wanted to poke. I didn't bite. Instead, I started getting everything in order. I printed out every document I'd saved, bank statements, messages, screenshots of strange withdrawals. I even included photos of the unopened mail I'd found, the secret credit card statements, the notes from Mads and Sophia. I labeled everything and slid it into a manila folder like I was prepping for a meeting with a lawyer. In a way, I was. At 1 p.m., my mom and Jamie came by. Mom brought groceries like she always does when she doesn't know what else to say. Jamie just gave me this long look like, "So, this is it?" "Yeah," I said. "This is it." Around 5:45, I got the confirmation text. Erica's parents were on the way. Her sister, too. This dinner wasn't a surprise. I told everyone it was time to have a conversation, and somehow that felt like enough. Erica's mom responded with a cautious, "Looking forward to it." Her dad didn't reply. Madison, her sister, just sent a thumbs up. At 6:08, Erica walked in. She froze when she saw the full room, my mom, Jamie, her parents, Madison, all sitting at the table, plates of barely touched salad in front of them. Her smile looked painted on. Tight. "Oh, wow. Family dinner. How nice." I didn't stand up. Just said, "Yeah. Have a seat." She sat down slowly, her eyes bouncing from face to face. Her phone was in her hand under the table. Of course it was. We sat in a weird silence for a minute. My mom tried to ask about her job. Madison got up to grab a soda without saying a word. Erica's dad coughed into his napkin. Then he cleared his throat. "So, what's this about?" I looked at Erica. "I think it's time we talk about what's really been going on." She rolled her eyes. "Here we go." I pulled out the folder and set it on the table. "This is everything," I said. "Bank withdrawals. Texts. Secret credit cards. It's all here?" Her mom looked genuinely confused. Her dad narrowed his eyes. Madison stopped mid-sip and raised an eyebrow. Erica didn't even flinch. "You're seriously doing this? You're spying on me now?" "No. I'm protecting myself." "You're being paranoid." I opened the folder and showed them a bank statement. These charges? I didn't know about them. Hundreds of dollars gone. Repeatedly. And when I asked, I got excuses or silence. Wow. You want me to explain every grocery run now? No, but if you're buying candles, coaching sessions, and God knows what from websites I've never seen, yeah, maybe. Her mom looked at the page, then at Erica. Then I said it. The thing I'd been sitting on for weeks. And if that's not enough, here's the part that really matters. When I was in the hospital after the crash, Erica said something to the doctor when she thought I was unconscious. Erica went stiff. Her fingers curled tighter around her phone. She said, I continued, I was kind of hoping he wouldn't survive. That life insurance would have solved everything. Everyone went still. Madison blinked. She said, what? Erica let out a short, forced laugh. You were high on meds. You probably dreamt it. I wasn't dreaming, I said. I remember every word. The tone. Even the silence afterward. Her mom looked horrified. Her dad looked furious, but not at me. He was staring straight at his daughter like she was a stranger. Madison leaned forward. Is that true? Erica didn't answer. You really said that? Her dad asked, voice low and sharp. I was stressed, Erica muttered. You don't understand, he's not easy to live with. I snapped. You mean the guy who paid all the bills while you sat around, lied about where you were, and drained our account behind my back? She stood up suddenly. I'm done. I stood too. Sit down. We're not finished. She tried to push past me, but I blocked the way. Not with force, just presence. My mom stood up. Let's just finish this. Erica's dad turned to her, voice hard now. Is it true? Erica stared at the floor. I didn't mean it. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know anyone heard me. There it was. No denial. Just a quiet, broken confirmation that chilled the entire room. Madison shook her head, disgusted. You were hoping your husband would die for an insurance check? Erica snapped, you don't get it. You've never been trapped in something you can't breathe in. I didn't want him to die, I didn't see another way out. I stepped in. There were 100 ways out. Talking to me was one. Being honest. Filing for divorce. But instead, you tried to play the long game and cash out. Erica pointed at me, shaking. You don't get to act like the victim here. You've been distant for months. Yeah, I said. After I realized I wasn't living with a partner, I was living with someone who saw me as a paycheck. I pulled out the last few papers and slid them across the table. I've moved all my money. I've taken myself off every shared bill. You're now responsible for everything you signed your name to. You said you wanted to be free. Her face went pale. You are. Congratulations. You're also broke. And everyone here knows why. No one said anything for a few long seconds. Then Erica's mom whispered, my God. Madison stood up. You're unbelievable. Erica lunged at her. Stay out of it. They shoved each other. Her dad had to step between them, yelling at both to sit down. Meanwhile, Jamie just leaned back in his chair and muttered, this is wild. I turned to Erica one last time. I'm done. I'll be out by the end of the weekend. You won't hear from me again unless it's through a lawyer. She stood frozen, tears in her eyes, but still not saying sorry. Still not asking me to stay. Just silent. I picked up my folder, turned to the others. Thanks for coming, I said. Sorry it turned into a circus. Jamie fist bumped me on the way out. Madison gave me a quick hug. Erica's dad pulled me aside and muttered, you did the right thing. We'll make sure she doesn't follow you. That night, I packed the rest of my things and crashed at Jamie's. I haven't been back since. Erica hasn't texted, hasn't called. Her mom sent me one message the next day. I'm sorry. I don't know who she's become. I don't either. But I know who I've become. And I'm not a victim anymore.